think we're live. We've got 5 people here, it says. 4. Oh, man. Dying already? Let's see. Just trying to look, see if everything's up and running. It looks like we're good. Yeah, we are. Let's see, our connectivity's good. Yeah. So let's do roll call as always. And good morning. Hope you guys are doing well, staying out of trouble. Hey, yesterday what we did is yesterday afternoon I gave you guys a video and some notes on completing the square to change from standard to vertex form. But in the difficult case where the leading coefficient A isn't 1. And so, yeah, that's what we're going to review. Hey, Mariana, how's things today? Did you make breakfast again? And if so, what was it? Let's see here. Actually, you guys want to see, here's what I'm going to show you. So I use this software called OBS to do these streams. And so I thought what I would do is show you what it looks like on my end. So what you guys see right now is actually what I see. So we got, you see that right there? We got, oh, look at that. Yuvia's here, Vanessa's here. Good morning, ladies. Hope everything's going well. So this is what I see right here. Hey, Davy boy, how's things? And so it's kind of interesting because when I'm doing the Alfredo's here too. Good morning, Alfredo. When I'm using the document camera, it's kind of hard to see those messages way over there on the far right because my document camera is on my far left. But we got a couple other things going on. So I've learned how to do screen capture, so we can start using Desmos. We can start using some even some PowerPoint stuff. So, like for example, the one I made yesterday was this. So we could even start working through something like this right here if it'll even load. Oh, there we go. You see? So we could even start working through these kinds of things if that would be of use. I don't know if it'll be useful or not, but I don't know. I'm learning how to use the software, and so yeah, all that's good. Mariana hasn't gotten out of bed. And I forgot who Lemonhead LOL was. Who's Lemonhead LOL? I forgot who that is. Alfredo, you had breakfast yet? And Miss Rain on my parade. It didn't even rain yesterday. It was supposed to, but no rain. I don't know what's going on with that. So one of the things that I'm trying to help, not just you guys, but myself as well, establish is a kind of a new routine, a new normal. And I kind of like the way that this works. It worked really well yesterday where we graded something in the morning, and then if you were here and you participated, oh, Haley, that's right. If you're here good morning, Haley. So, oh, the volume was really low when I put on the PowerPoint. That's weird. Cassie's here. Good morning, Cassie. Man. So I'm really trying to establish a routine for all of us. And so I like this format of in the mornings, we're going to do a review of what we learned in the afternoon the day before. If you're here during the live feed, you can just participate, you get credit. If not, you got to grade it on your own and then just send me an email about what you got, what questions you have. I think that works really well. I got quite a few questions yesterday, so we're all good. Oh yeah, I get you, Rain. Yuvia, it's not, I know. Getting up this early when you don't really have to, it is kind of unusual, but that routine is really important. It's going to keep you sane. Yeah. All right. So let's see here. I know most of you guys that are here right now, let's see, we've got a couple sophomores. Most of you are Cambridge freshmen, and it looks like we have at least one Algebra 1 freshman, which is good because, yeah, you guys are the ones that probably need the most help, the freshmen, with this topic. So if you're a Cambridge freshman, you've seen this before, but it's probably not been your favorite thing. And if you're just in Algebra 1, this is probably like, oh my God. So here's the expectation for the stuff like we're going to learn today. If you're in Cambridge, you got to get this 100%. You got to be good at this. And if you're in Algebra 1, you got to have an idea. You got to be able to approach it. You can make mistakes, but I mean, you got to have an understanding of it. But you don't have to be able to do it at any time. Yeah. George is here. Hey, George. George, you've been running? I hope you've been running. I know that, well, here's the idea, George. Same with running and with this. Hey, good morning, Leah. So those of you who are willing to put in the extra work because you're really interested in developing and being better at whatever it is you want to be good at, you have an advantage right now, because a lot of people right now, they're not doing anything. So like if you're an athlete, like George, he's a runner, I would imagine that there's a lot of people that aren't going to be practicing like they should, aren't going to be training. So George could actually develop a really good base and get way ahead. And those of you guys that are here for math, same thing, right? We can get ahead. That'd be good. Your dog is even asleep right now. Jeez, Mariana, it's not even that early. It's 9 o'clock. Well, and Mariana, this one is for, the freshmen. You don't, if you want to take a nap, you can. But I think this would be really good for you. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. So got my coffee. I don't know if you guys drink coffee. I just drink coffee black, like my soul. All right. And then I want to know, Leah, what did you have for dinner yesterday? I had carnitas burritos. So there's like just tortilla, beans, and carnitas and a little cheese in there. And it was pretty good. And then we started watching this show called The Outsider on HBO. I had read the book. It's pretty fantastic. Ruben's here. Hey, Ruben, good morning to you, sir. Oh, yeah, Ruben, you reminded me. So you know how I told you guys I listen to a record every morning? Because what I do in the morning is I get up, eat breakfast, I come up here, and I build a web page. Because, I've been doing that anyway, but it's stuff that we're going to be learning in the future. And while I do that, I listen to a record. My record player is right over there. Right there. There's my record player. Stereo. Record player. So anyway, the one I had this morning, Ruben, is this. And I think this would be of particular interest to you. Actually, I think this would be interesting to a lot of people, because this is where, like, I don't know, R&B and rock and roll kind of were really similar and overlapped. So it's kind of bluesy and kind of rhythmy, and I don't know. So Howlin' Wolf is one of the most famous guys from the United States back in the day, before there was, rock and roll. And all of these British guitar players wanted to play with him, and he wasn't going to do it unless they brought along his guitar player, which was Herbert Sumlin. So if you like, I don't know, I know Ruben would be really interested in this, and I think a lot of other people that like rock would be really interested in it. So let's see, who else is here? Mariana says she's going to make coffee. That's a good idea. Hey, Alita, how's things? I haven't heard from you. I heard a little bit from your brother. How are things going over there with you guys? Have you killed each other yet? Or is it your little brother that's the problem? I bet that's it, right? The little brother. And what's its name? It is right there on the top. The London Howlin' Wolf Sessions. You should definitely check it out. Definitely check it out, Ruben. I think you would be right in your wheelhouse. I think a lot of people would like it. In fact, I've played this like in class before, and it's well received. So, wow, Yuvia, let's keep it rated G, shall we, Yuvia? All right. Let's get to this, shall we? So here's what we're gonna do. I did not assign you guys homework on this yesterday. But what I did do, I just gave you a lesson, right? And yeah, so let's go over that. Hey, Viviana, good morning. How are you? Yeah, so let's just go over this. Let's see how we're doing here, shall we? So let's switch over the document camera. Let's see, document camera. And then you guys keep leaving questions as we go, and yeah, we'll go over this. So here's what we did. Here's what we did yesterday in the lesson. Let me get my document camera all nice and organized here. Let's see. There we go. So what we did yesterday is we were changing from standard, whoa, to vertex form. And we were doing that by completing the square, and for the case when a was not 1. Yeah? Okay. Now you guys have to let me know, because some people said when the PowerPoint was up, the volume went really quiet. So I don't know. I messed around with some of the settings this morning, trying to get things to be a little better. And so if things get weird, just say, "Hey, I got this." Oh, Viviana's trying to survive Kuma. What's going on with Mr. Kuma right now? You guys got a lot of new material you're learning? And how are the 17 Pomeranians doing? Are they driving you crazy? All right. So here's what we're going to do. Standard to vertex form when a is not 1. So, like, just to make sure we all are on the same page, this is standard form. This is vertex form. And the deal, the one thing we got to be really careful of is, do you see that the coefficient, the leading coefficient, which is a, is the same for both? Yeah. All the screen recorder. Oh, really? So when I put the screen recorder on, it was kind of quiet. I'll have to look into that and see. Oh, I bet I know why. I'll see if I can work on that. I don't know how much of the screen capture we're going to do right now. But actually, I think I know why. I think I know why. So I think if I try it now, it's going to work out. So yeah, we'll be okay with that. Can you hear me now though, Yuvia? You got a new poodle, Viviana. Wow, man. You think your parents are trying to replace you and your sister with dogs? I mean, dogs won't get the coronavirus. Okay, that was mean. Mariana, if you get your dog to sit, that'd be fantastic. Maybe we can work on Reuben. All right, so let's get to this, shall we? Here's what we got. We're going to change from this standard form to vertex form, and the leading coefficient a is going to be the same number in both forms. It won't matter. It's always going to be the same. So, like, let's go ahead and start with a pretty simple example. Let's do one where it's 3x squared plus 18x minus 4. That's standard form, right? And so that's standard form. And so what we're going to do is we're going to change this to vertex form. And it's a little tricky. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure everything that's changes is going to be on the right. It's going to look different, but it's going to be the same exact value. So our very first thing we're going to do a couple steps at once. What we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to, at one time, we're going to divide 3 out of 3x squared, and we're going to divide 3 out of 18x, like this. You see, I divided the 3 out. I factored out 3. So because if I distribute, 3 times x squared is 3x squared, and 3 times 6 is 18. So we're all good there. No problems, right? And you leave space, and you just put this c term there at the end. Yeah? All right. Oh, good, Mariana. I'm glad you will teach. Oh, you thought your other dog had a shake. Man, yeah, maybe Reuben is trainable. Reuben, I don't know. We'll see. There is hope. Okay, so divided out the 3, left space, and now what we do is we have to make this thing in here, we need this thing right here to be a perfect square. We want that to be a perfect square. And the thing with perfect squares is when you take half of b and square it, that's going to be equal to c. That's like the property. And if you're kind of shaky on that, that might be why some of this is really confusing. This is always the case. If you take half of that number and square it, and that equals to the c number, then you have a perfect square. Like this right here. You see? Half of 10 is 5, right? So b is 10, b over 2 squared. That would be 10 over 2 squared. Well, 10 over 2 is 5. 5 squared is 25. And you see c right there, 25. All right. Yeah, I know, Ruben. We're being rude. Casting shade. I apologize. But I did hook you up with a good uh, music recommendation today, so I should deserve some forgiveness. All right. Why don't you factor the 3 out from the 4, Mariana wants to know. She wants to know, why don't you divide the 3 out of this number? And the reason we don't do that is because that would make, because we want it outside the parentheses, because we just want this part to be the perfect square. That's why. And so if I left the 4 in here, then it would be more difficult to make it a perfect square. So what we do is we just move the 4 way over, and we divide 3 out of both of these. Yeah. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take half of b, and we're going to square it. Do you see? We're going to add that right here. But remember, you don't actually square it inside the parentheses. Do not square it here. Just write it like that. So what we did is we took half of this and squared it. Yeah? Now, this is not equal to what it was before. Before I put that 3 squared right there, this is exactly the same as this. Because if you distributed, you would get 3x squared plus 18x minus 4. Same thing. But now I added this 3 squared, which is 9. But I actually added 3 of them because it's inside the parentheses. So what I have to do is I have to subtract 3 of them. Do you see? Mariana's not forgiven, but I am. That seems fair. All right. So I wish I didn't write that there. Oh well. So now our next step is we're going to factor. And the thing that's going to happen is every single time this number goes right there. Every single time. That's why you don't square it. Like we could have figured this out because if you did square it, you would get x squared plus 6x plus 9. And I know you guys can factor that as x plus 3 squared. But when the numbers are tricky, then it makes it more difficult. So if you had written 3 squared here, you see that 3 goes right there. Yeah. And the reason that's true is because x plus 3 times x plus 3, don't kill a kitten, x squared plus 6x plus 9, you see? Yeah, so this part, 3 times x plus 3 squared is the same as 3 times x squared plus 6x plus 9, or 3 squared, whatever, right? So Gabby wants to know, where did we get the 9 from? This 9. Well, where we got that 9 from is, man, I should have used a different color for this. We added this number in right here. Do you see? Because half of 6 is 3, 3 squared is 9. So this is a perfect square now. We added that in, and that makes the whole equation not equal to the original. So since we added it, we also have to subtract it. We have to subtract 3 of them. So that's what I did right here. That's where that 9 came from. Right? Hey, Jesse. How's things? Hope things are good with you guys. All right. So if that makes sense, Gabby, that's excellent. If you're still a little shaky on it, ask. Don't be shy about asking. And I know that this is kind of a strange thing because, wrong one. I know this is kind of a strange thing. Let's see. Hold on. There we go. This situation right here, doing a lesson like this, is a little strange, and Jesse is not late. Well, maybe he is, but it's okay. So Gabby, and those of you who haven't seen these yet, who haven't been in these yet, it's a little strange because there's about a 30-second lag. So I'm in real time. When you ask me a question about something you just saw, I'm actually about 30 seconds ahead. So I have to kind of read what you said and think back a little bit and then try to figure out what it is. And so then when I'm done with that, I think I've answered your question, I'm going to move on. I actually don't know if your question's been answered yet or not, so you have to tell me if I didn't, and don't feel like just do that, because there's no other way for us to do it. So it's not like it's in class where sometimes it makes you feel weird if you ask a question sometimes like that, but here it's totally different. So you got to ask. All right, let's get back to this, right? So here's what we did. Factored this. Now all we got to do is simplify all this over here. That's 27 and 4. I think 27 and 4 is 31. So vertex form of this is going to be, so this equation right here and this equation right here are the same. Exactly the same value. This is vertex form. This is standard form. The vertex, if you remember, is going to be -3 and -31. You see that? Also, so that's in the third quadrant. It's over here somewhere, -3, negative, way down here. Maybe way down there. Also, A is positive, so this is going up. So this is going to have 2x intercepts for sure. 2x intercepts. Now the thing I want to check, you might not be good on how I went from here to here yet, but we'll go over that again. But what I want to see is I want to make sure this is actually right. I want to make sure this fits this. And then I also want to see if our vertex is really this by using Desmos. So let's go ahead and check. X plus 3 squared is x plus 3 times x plus 3, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to follow the order of operations. Okay, now I got to distribute 3x squared plus 18x plus 27 minus 31. Well, 27 minus 31 is -4. So I think that we are golden. That is exactly the same, so we got it right. Oh, you do get it now. Good, good. I'm glad, Gabby. I'm glad you got it. And if you didn't, all you got to do is ask, like, seriously. All right, so here's what we're going to do now. I think the screen capture is going to have good volume. You guys have to tell me if screen capture has decent volume right here. So what I'm going to do, I got Desmos up on the screen, and I'm going to type in our equation, our original one, 3x squared plus 18x minus 4. And I just want to check, the vertex. If I click right here and it says what I thought it was, if it says -3, -31, then I'm good to go. Let's find out. You ready? Dang, look at that. -3, -31, and as we suspected, it also has 2x intercepts right here and right here. And one of the things we're going to be learning how to do next week. One of the things we're going to do next week is we're going to learn how to solve an equation from vertex form using inverse operations. Yeah. All right. It's good now. All right. Good. I'm glad the volume worked. I figured out what I didn't do. All right. POG. That's right. Alfredo, that's my new thing. Pog. Everybody. Like, so my wife's work, it's closed, so she's here like all day now. So I think what I'm gonna do to annoy her is just say Pog about everything. What do you think? Should I do that, or should I just be nice? You guys have to let me know. Haley, you still in here? If you're here, how did that one go for you? How do you feel about that? Anybody else having some issues? So Mariana has a question. I didn't see it earlier. I'm sorry. It says, so whenever A doesn't equal 1, then yes, that's exactly right. Then you have to put that number A is equal to. That's right on the outside. Oh, wow. So math crashed Yuvia's computer. Too much math. That's Pog. That's not really Pog. That's the opposite of Pog, right? Julius is doing, but you know what? You like poking the bear. You like just causing trouble, don't you? You would run through the zoo yelling that the lions are out just to cause havoc because you think it would be funny. Tell me if I'm wrong. All right. Let's do another one. Let's do another easy one. Then we're going to do one difficult one, and then we'll call it good. And then I'll go ahead and I'll post your homework. And the homework will be due on Monday. Yeah, Haley's still kind of confused. I figured, because it is kind of tricky, right? So let's do one more. Let's do one more, and we'll be really, really careful with this one. And it's going to be another easy one, okay? And then, yeah, let's get to it. I'm going to go back to the, hey, you got it. Good morning, Angela. How are you? Good morning, Leah. You did good. Good. All right. Let's do another easy one, all right, Haley? Oh, you're silly, because I know you, silly. You would smash my thumb like that and give me a bruise just to see. Just to see if I would whine. So let's do 5x squared plus, let's do a minus this time, minus 20x plus 4. So we're going to change this into standard form, right? So first thing you're going to do, and this is different because A is not 1. First thing we're going to do is we're going to divide out 5 out of these first two terms. I'm going to leave a big old space here because we're going to add some stuff in there. And then we're going to put plus 4 at the end. Angela's late again. Yep. So when I divide this number right here, 5 out of 5x squared, do you see? So like what I'm really doing is in my head, I'm kind of doing this math right there, and I'm reducing it. You see? Like that. And then for this one, minus 20x divided by 5, well, that's negative 4x. Yeah? Now this whole thing is exactly the same value as the original one right above it. If you distribute, you get 5x squared minus 20x, and then plus 4 would just be plus 4. So that is exactly the same value, no different. No different whatsoever. No different whatsoever than the first one. Wow. Angela's a little touchy today. Dang, Angela. Hey, yeah. I'm working on an idea for you guys too. All right. So anyway, we'll talk about that in a little bit. All right. So next up, so Haley, and all of you guys, take this 5 out of both terms, right, Mariana? Take this 5 out of both terms, and leave space, and this goes at the end. Yeah. Now what we got to do is we got to take this thing in the middle right here. We have to make this a perfect square. So it's like if we did it as scratch work, we have x squared minus 4x, and we need to figure out what number would go there to make it a perfect square. Right? What number would go there to make a perfect square? Well, the way we do that is you have to take half of that number, and you have to square it, and that number goes there. So this is going to be plus a negative 2 squared. And we write it that way on purpose. You'll see why. Because, well, so watch. Plus negative 2 squared. Now we did add this. So since I wrote this thing in red, it's no longer equal to the original. So to keep it equal, because what I'm really doing is I'm adding a 4, because this is really 4. I'm adding a 4, but I'm adding 5 of them. Do you see? Because it would distribute. So I'm adding 4 times 5. So in order to keep it equal, I have to subtract 5 of the negative 4. So like this is 20 minus 20. That would be equal to 0, right? If you add 0, it stays the same value. So that's why over here we subtract 5 of them. Here we go ahead and square. Here we do not. And the reason we square here is because we're going to combine like terms. We're going to make all this one number. Here we don't square because we're going to factor that whole thing. And that's the factor right there that we're looking for. This is this thing right here. So next step is what we're going to do is we're going to factor it. You see? That 2 goes right there. Every single time it's going to work, even if it's a fraction. It is always, always, and forever going to work that way. Now this is 20, and it's negative, and that's a plus 4, so that makes negative 16. So there's vertex form. Our vertex is 2, negative 16. That's in quadrant 4. That's over here somewhere. A is positive, so it's going to go up. Yeah, there we go. Hey, good morning. How you doing, Martin? Hope things are good. All right. So yeah, and if we wanted to check that once again on Desmos, we could. So let's do that just to verify that our vertex is 216. So I'm going to type in the original equation. Desmos is free. It's DESMOS. All you got to do is go to DESMOS.com. No, not that. Yes, Lee, that's the wrong one. Desmos.com, like this, right? And then it says start graphing. You just click that, start graphing, and then you're there. You're good. So 5, and then you could type 2x as x times x, or if you wanted, you see this little button down here, you just click that. You could do x squared. There's also an app for the phone. I know a lot of you guys have it. It's free. The computer's way easier to use if you're using a computer to do all of this stuff. So right there. 2, negative 16, which was exactly what we thought it was going to be, and 2x intercepts. Look at that. And we're going to learn how to solve. So check this out. We're going to learn how to solve something that's like this next week. So squared, and then what was it? Minus 16. Look, exactly the same equation. See? Turn the blue one off, turn the red one off, right? See? Exactly the same equation. Yeah. So we're good. All right. Let me get back to my screen. So there we go. Uriel's here. What's up, Oreo? And then Mariana wants to know, why wouldn't the vertex be -2? Right, Mariana? You wanted to know why the vertex would not be -2? So here's the deal. With vertex form, it's always the opposite sign of whatever you see right there. So this is -2, so the x of the vertex is going to be +2. If you had something like 3x plus 8 squared minus 7, the vertex would be -8, -7. So this sign stays the same. This one's going to be the opposite. Yeah, always works like that. That makes sense? Let's see. And we got quite a few people in here. This is excellent. I hope you guys are all doing well. I didn't know how this was going to be. I didn't know if this was going to be fun, boring, interesting, dull, difficult, impossible. But I think it's okay. So if this is new to you, this material we're doing, and it seems totally overwhelming, that's quite all right. Because it is. I mean, you can ask any of the sophomores. This is a tricky, tricky thing. But, yeah, we're doing all right. Hey, John, how you doing? Things good? Is your brother driving you crazy yet? All right. Now, last one. Last one we're going to do. You got it? Okay. Yeah, good. Glad you got it, Mariana. So, last one we're going to do is going to be a tricky one because it's not going to reduce very nicely. Okay? But you guys can handle this. You'll see. You'll see. You guys can get this. It's not that huge of a deal. You just got to be patient and you got to be careful. All right. So, here's what we got. Let's do one like this. F of x equals let's say it was 2x squared minus how about let's do 7x plus 4. I don't know. Let's try that. Yeah. What do you mean, John? Gut. G-U-T. Oh, you miss JP? Davey misses JP. JP's been around. He's been active. He's watching stuff. I get emails from him, but I don't see him in here. But that's all right. He might not have the self-discipline that Mariana and Yuvia have to be able to wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning. All right. So this one's tricky. Here's why this one's tricky. When I do my very first step and we divide 2 out of this, no problem. But when I divide 2 out of 7, it's a problem, right? But watch. I'll show you how it works. It really doesn't work out too bad. So, I don't know why I keep using 4. But here's what we're doing, right? For the first one, we're really doing this right here. To figure out what number goes here, what I'm doing is I'm dividing 2x by 2. Do you see? To figure out what number goes here, I know it's going to be a negative. So I have 7x divided by 2. Well, I can't reduce that, so it's just going to be 7 divided by 2x. Oh man, I should have left more space in there. Dang. Here's what I'm going to do, because I don't want it to be sloppy and I didn't use... JP's not here now, I don't think. He could be. Because I don't want this to be sloppy, because it's going to be a tricky one. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and rewrite this part right here, okay? But I'm going to leave a little bit of extra space. That way I can write the things in nice and neat and beautiful and pretty like all of you. I mean, you know, that's the saddest part is I don't get to see how beautiful all of you are. Especially you, John. Especially you, John. Okay. So now what we got to do is we have to take half of this and square it and add it, right? So right now, what b equals is -7/2. And we have to take half of it. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to multiply by 1/2, because that's taking half of it. And then I'm going to square it. So what's that going to give me? What that is going to give me is going to give me -7/4 squared. Do you see? So let's just make sure. Every time we take half of this number and square it and add it here, because that makes this part a perfect square. Well, now it's kind of confusing because this is not a whole number, it's a fraction. So I just went ahead and wrote it out. Half of 7/2 is 7/4. All you got to do is multiply. 1 times -7 is -7. 2 times 2, 4. Yeah, there we go. Hey, Deanna, how you doing today? I hope everything's good. It's good to see you. Glad you're here with us. this is kind of a tricky thing we're learning how to do today. So you're going to have to be patient with yourself. You might even, what a lot of people are going to have to do is when they try the practice problems, they're going to have to play the video and they're going to have to watch step 1 and pause it and do step 1 on the paper. And then hit play on the video, watch step 2, and then do step 2 on the paper. And just do that for a couple times, and they're probably going to get it, all right? So, just to make sure before we move on, we're going to make this part inside the parentheses a perfect square. To do that, I have to take half of b and square it. b is negative 7 over 2. So if I take half of it, multiply by 1/2, that's 7 over 4, and we're going to square it. Here, we don't actually do the squaring. We just write the number like it is. You see? But over here, we do. We are going to square it over here. All right? Now, there are really 2 of them, so we have to subtract 2. And here, we're going to go ahead and square that number. 7 over 4. Negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. 4 times 4 is 16. Do you see? 49 over 16. And a negative times a negative is positive. So that's how I got that number right there. Hope we're all good there. I want to kind of slow down right here, make sure everybody's okay. A lot of times what happens is you start seeing fractions and you go, oh my gosh, I don't understand. I don't get it. This is impossible. But you guys will be all right. I have faith in you guys. Yeah. Especially you, Alfredo. Yeah. All right. So next step. Here's what's up. We are going to, just like before, we're going to factor this part. We're going to factor it. And over here, we're going to simplify. Yeah, factor and simplify. So this is where you really are going to have to take a leap of faith. And I'll show you that it's true right now. But that number, whatever it is, goes here with its sign. Whatever that number is goes right there. Okay, now here, I'm going to do a little scratch work. I'm going to reduce. This is 2 over 1. Always reduce before you multiply. Reduce before multiply. Get a tattoo of that. Reduce before multiply. But don't get the tattoo till after the coronavirus. All right. So 2 and 16, that reduces to 1 and 8. So what we really have over here is we have 4 minus 49 over 8. Got a couple ways we can do this. We can get a common denominator of 8. This would be 32 over 8. It would look like this, right? 8 over 8. This is 4 over 1, so it would be 32 minus 49 over 8. And that would be negative 17 over 8. Or you could do it another way too. You could change this into a mixed number. Do you see? So like 8 goes into 49, so it would be 4 minus 6 and 1/8. This 8 goes into 49 6 times with 1 left over. And you do that and you get negative 2 and 1/8, which is what this equals, 2 and 1/8. So you could write 2 and 1/8, or you could write 17/8. It doesn't really matter. Yeah. Yuvia, you got a new dog? You should email me a picture. Hey, Sasha, how's things? Hope all's well. All right. So there we go. Now, we could check this on the, what's it called? On Desmos. But I don't think we need to right now. You can. You know, it's going to show us decimals for this, but you can just divide 7 by 4. It'll give you the decimal. That's going to be, dividing by 4 is quarters, and that's 0.125. But we don't need to do that. Here's what I'm going to do instead. Just to make sure this is right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and square this, distribute, and then combine like terms, and see if we in fact get that back. Because here's the deal. You see this part right here, this is the tricky part, factoring this. If you squared this in here, you would never figure out it's 7 over 4. Or it'd be really difficult. So let's go ahead and do this. All right. 2. And even though I've done this a million times, when I look at this, I don't see how in the world we're going to get that back. But it works. So, x squared. Now look, minus 7 over 4x for the outside, yeah? The inside is another minus 7 over 4x. And the last two make 49 over 4. Minus, I'm going to go ahead and write that as 17 over 8. Because this and this are the same. And, well, you'll see why in just a second, okay? All right, now, 7 over 4 and 7 over 4. Do you guys know what that makes? It makes, so negative 7 over 4 minus 7 over 4 makes negative 14 over 4. You see? And 14 over 4 reduces to negative 7 over 2. Oh, sorry, you can't see. I apologize. Oreo's your dog's name. Well, that's interesting. All right, so 17 over 4 is 7 over 2. So this right here is going to make 7 over 2x. So here's what we got. 2x squared minus 7 over 2x plus 49 over 4 minus 17 over 8. Or 2 1/8. I'm not really sure which one's going to be easier to do yet. Now, what's going to happen next is when we distribute, this one is going to reduce, and so is this one's going to reduce with the 2. So 2x squared. 2 times 7 over 2 is just 7. And then this one's going to be plus 49 over 2 minus 17 over 8. Hopefully this equals 4. We're going to have to do a little bit of arithmetic right here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply this by 4 over 4. So 49 over 2. I'm going to multiply by 4 over 4. And that's going to give me something over 8. So 6, 3, 16, 196 over 8 minus 17 over 8. I feel like I'm making a silly mistake here somewhere. Wait, hold on. Am I making a mistake right here somewhere? Let's see. Oh, I am. Did you guys catch my mistake? I made my mistake all the way back here. That should have been a 16. That should be a 16 because 7 over 4 times 7 over 4 is 49 over 16. Oh, man, what an embarrassment of a human being I am. Do you guys see my mistake right there? Oh, yeah. So here's what we got. I apologize. I confess, I blame Yuvia. It's her fault. Sorry, Yuvia. So 49 over 16. So to get a common denominator here is a little better because all I got to do is multiply this by 2 over 2. So that's going to be 34 over 16. Let's see. Something's wrong. I'm doing something wrong. I can't find my mistake. Hold on. You know what I got to do? Hold on. Do you know what we got to do right here? We need to back the truck up. So I'm making a mistake somewhere. I can't find my mistake. And if you look at the paper, it's like getting all crowded. So here's what you should do. Like especially the kind of test. Hopefully that doesn't happen. If it does, you just need to be like calm down and slow down. So let's back the truck up. Yes, I didn't want to call you out like that. No, Yuvia, call me out like that anytime you want. So the reason I made the mistake, I think, is because I was trying to cram everything into a small space. You never do that, do you, John? Cram everything into a small space, and then it gets all ugly, and then you start making silly mistakes. Man. All right. So I didn't do this on purpose. It was completely on accident. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to learn a lot from this because I'm going to show you how you respond when you do make a mistake and you find it. So I found that I made a mistake because my arithmetic wasn't matching the original when I was checking. So what I want to do, I want to go back and look through the whole thing, what we did first, and then we'll see if we can find it, and then from that point we'll move forward, okay? So let's just make sure. Here's what we did. We started off, we rewrote it. You got in trouble last time. Oh, wow. Okay. So what we're going to do, we're going to start off, we're going to rewrite it, and we're going to divide 2 out. So that's all good. Now we have to take half of this, which is 7 over 4, and we have to square it and add it. That's good. And then the plus 4 is over here, and then we subtracted 2 of them. And when we squared 49 over 16, that's good. And then so 4 minus 49 over 8. 4, so 32. And that's negative 17 over 8. That's good. That's perfect. Negative 17 over 8. So this is good. I'm perfectly confident that that's quite fine. Okay. So now, I think my mistake was when I started to multiply all this together. And my writing is really kind of ugly right here. So we squared it. So we multiplied by itself. So x times x is x squared. Minus 7. So that makes minus 14 over 4, which is 7 over 2. That's good. And 7, yeah, that's good. Okay. All right. So now, here's where I got the mistake. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start I'm gonna start this part over right here. I'm gonna do it on another paper so it'll be pretty, like you guys. No comment, huh, John? It's probably smart. So 2, not for me, for Uvia, right? 7 over 4 times x minus 7 over 4 minus, let's say, I don't know, let's do the 17 over 8. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, it is usually better to leave it as an improper fraction, Ruben, and that's why I decided to just go ahead and do it like that right here. Normally, when you're graphing, 2 and 1/8 is easier to use, but I think that's where I started to get in trouble. I was thinking about what was coming next, and instead of just focusing on what I was doing, and I was actually kind of distracted by this. But all right, so let's do this now. Here's what we got. We got x squared, right? FOIL, right? X squared, and then minus 7 over 4x from the outside. Let's be nice and patient. Minus 7 over 4x, and here's where I made my first mistake last time. Negative 7 times negative 7 is 49, and 4 times 4 is 16. Do you see? Yeah. And then when I tried to go back and fix it, I made a silly mistake, and I knew that I shouldn't have done that. I should have just, like, if I had a pencil, I would have erased it and started over at that point. So let's go ahead and combine all this down. X squared minus, this is going to be 14 over 4, right? 7 over 4 and 7 over 4. It's going to be negative 14 over 4, and that reduces to negative 7 over 2. You see? And then plus 49 over 16 minus 17/8. And now that I see where I made my mistake, it's kind of, it happens. It's super easy for these things to happen. But, I mean, I think it's good. I think it's okay. Learning how to handle a mistake is just fine. Oh, so 2x squared minus 7x, because when you distribute there, you get the 2's reduced. And here, when we do 49 over 16 times 2 over 1, it is plus 49 over 8, and then minus 17 over 8. You see? Yeah, that's where I started getting into trouble. So 49 minus 17 is 49, and 17 is 32. Look. And so here's what we got. If I were going to write the whole thing out again, and 32 over 8 is 4. So we were right out the whole time. I just made I'm not even sure exactly what I did. I think Ruben's right that I got myself confused with the improper fraction. And then the other thing I know I did wrong is when I multiplied 7 over 4 times 7 over 4, I said it was 49 over 4, not 49 over 16. So super easy. I mean, no reason to make that mistake. I've known that since 5th grade, so has everybody else. But, yeah. So anyway, that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one. Here's what we'll do. In Google Classroom, I will go ahead and post some notes for you. I'll post some notes for you, and I will post the homework assignment. And then on Monday morning, we'll go over that. So you try it over the weekend, and see how you do. Then we'll grade it together, and we'll see how you do. Hopefully it's not too difficult for you. And you just got to be careful. You'll be all right. So I hope everybody's well. I hope you guys are doing great. And I know this is a super tricky thing. This is definitely one of the trickiest things of the entire freshman year. This thing we're doing right here, right now, is one of the most difficult things for the entire freshman year. Next week's stuff's going to be easier. It's going to be continued of this, but it's going to be way, way easier. So just be patient. Don't get dejected. Don't give up. Just get through this. Even if you're not really good at it, it's still okay. Just stay with us. You're gonna be all right. So anyway, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Yeah, be nice to your mom. She's probably ready to kill you. Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, I will talk to you guys on Monday. And if you're a sophomore in here right now, we're gonna give me a few minutes. I gotta get a refresher on my coffee and get some stuff set up. And then we'll go over our homework from yesterday and actually do a little continuation for what I was going to show you guys in addition to this yesterday. Okay? So, give me a few minutes. I'll post all that and we'll get to it. So, I'll talk to all of you guys. I'll talk to all of you guys later.